Pathmark is the intelligent tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmark qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50%. Add Pathmark to your website in seconds. Let the AI do all the work and get access to 50% more qualified leads while we keep doing marketing and sales as usual. Check us on pathmark.com. Welcome to today's episode. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Kash from CrowdRiff, VP of Marketing out there with them. How are you doing today, Kash?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on, someone with so much expertise, definitely. And well, we are looking forward to learning a little bit more about CrowdRiff as well. So let's kick it off with that, Kash. In your own words, can you tell us a little bit more?
Sure. So CrowdRiff is a SaaS solution that lets destination marketers find UGC content anywhere online, social channels, or you connect with local creators to create assets that could be used across all marketing channels. So you go in, you get what you want, and then you can use it across social, website, email, etc. So think of us a little bit like HubSpot for destination marketers, where we provide you a solution to be able to create content and distribute it across different channels.
Yeah, awesome. I think that in today's world, in the marketing world, I think everybody's looking for tools like that. So awesome to hear that. So then, and so that way our listeners can get a good understanding of CrowdRiff. Kash, what would you see then is that key problem that you guys like to solve for clients?
Yeah, so we serve a very specific niche marketer. So they're the destination marketers. Funny enough, like I didn't even know who they were until I started to interview at the company. So destination marketers are crucial within the travel space. So they are responsible for helping essentially like bring tourism to local destinations. So think of your local city, county, state, and they're responsible for promoting those destinations. And so we serve them through our solution, helping them with great content. And we just make it easier for them to find the right content so they can do their job better, which is making sure that they can promote their destination to any traveler that is either thinking about visiting or maybe putting it on a list of a destination they want to visit at a later point.
All right, perfect. Awesome. Great to hear that. And you did mention there a couple of the DMs or the verticals that you guys like to go for. So that would that be your ideal ICP, or is there sometimes other vertical segments that you guys like to go for?
Yeah, so right now it's mostly that destination marketer within the DMO organization. But because we are in the travel space, we are obviously sort of like go into other segments. So we have worked with travel agencies, we work with attractions, we work with hotels and resorts. And in some cases, we've also worked with airlines. And so because that travel experience is touching everyone and DMOs are at the heart of it, we sort of like do get into other spaces. And it's an area that we've talked about potentially getting into even more. But right now, we're solely focused on serving the DMO as best as we can.
That's like, okay, perfect. Awesome. And so then how would somebody usually find out then about CrowdRiff, right? Saying, I was in the hotel industry and I'm looking for, is there a top client acquisition channel for you guys?
Yeah, so CrowdRiff has done a really good job over the years, even before I joined, of participating at events. So we are typically at most of the big industry events. We've sponsored a number of them. And so because of the word of mouth at those events, and we have a number of customers, we've done a really good job of building that brand equity through word of mouth, through these existing customers who are willing to give us case studies, who are willing to refer us to their peers. I'd say more recently, especially after COVID, when events shut down, we've seen an uptick in organic reach, organic social, and more importantly, paid channels. So we sort of increased our reliance on paid channels to reach more of these destination marketers across different channels. But we still see events starting to play a bigger role. We're obviously participating in more events now. So it's a combination of offline and online. Offline just gives you that added benefit of being able to meet some of these prospects in person and actually have a dialogue with them about what those challenges are. So yeah, it's a combination of those channels, but really the brand equity and with the in-person meetings have come a long way.
Definitely would agree. And so that way our listeners who are tuned in could go and visit you. You could always check them out at crowdriff.com. What role then does a website play for client acquisition, Kash?
Yeah, so for us, it's think of it as a place to validate everything they've heard at events or they've seen an ad, or maybe a peer has sent them an article, right? So we typically look at their website as like the validation engine. If you were a direct-to-consumer company, you go to the website, you need to look at all of these different storytelling mechanisms of who they are, their journey, all of that. I think for us, it's a little bit of less of that. We are trying to get destination marketers really quickly to trust us that we are going to help them do their job well, and then use case studies, use a bunch of different things to validate that particular need for them. So for us, it's really just about that trust and validation, and we see that as the strength, source of the strength for the website. Now we see our existing customers also value the information their website provides. So we're also trying to mimic some of the experiences that they provide travelers. And so we know that their website is really important to them. So we're trying to provide a similar value to our customers who will come to our website for the first time and quickly browse to it and make a decision one way or another. Are we going to be able to give them the right type of support so that they can promote their destination better?
Okay, awesome. Great to hear that. Then on that note, is there any tools or tips or methods that you would recommend to our listeners as far as some website lead generation?
Yeah. So, when I talk about trying to avoid telling this bigger vision, I don't think that applies to everyone, right? Different companies have different ways of making sure the prospects that get on their website can quickly understand what they're trying to buy or what they will buy at the towards the end. I think for us, like, it's really focusing on showcasing ROI. So show the numbers, show the impact that you can actually have for a potential prospect, right? Also show actual case studies. So for us, like the trust factor, the peer recommendations, those are huge. And our prospects really appreciate when a peer recommends us. And so we try to populate as much of those case studies. If you go to our website, you'll see a number of case studies, a number of quotes, and those are high up on the website along with numbers, right? So I think those are things that you should keep in mind. And then in terms of tools, we use tools like Hotjar to just understand where people spend time. And with that understanding lets us know, like, how much information are they really consuming? How much information are they putting into a form? Where do they drop off, right? It also helps us like build the right workflows. So it gives our demand gen team a better understanding of, like, do we need to make forms longer? Do we need to make them shorter? And how much content do we actually need to get in front of these potential prospects? So Hotjar is one tool that we really look at. There are a bunch of other ones that we're working through, like Clearbit's another one that we've explored in the past. It's just like you need to have these right tools to be able to look at where the customers are spending time. But I'd say more importantly, just focus on things that the customer wants. Like, they want to understand, can you actually help them? Show the ROI, and then show them other case studies to validate whether or not they can trust you.
Okay, awesome. Great for that insight there for our listeners. And well, let's switch gears a little bit, Kash, and let's focus on your day-to-day work. I mean, you being the VP of marketing at CrowdRiff, what does that look like?
Yeah, so my day-to-day tasks are a little bit interesting. I try to start my day off with a walk. I have 2 young kids. I drop them off at school. I think, like, just detaching myself from, like, the home to work is really important. And so that walk in between, like, really makes a big difference. But I'd say on a day-to-day basis is going through all of the communication channels that we have at CrowdRiff and making sure that I'm not missing anything that I can do to help my team. So are there blockers that I can unblock really quickly so that my team can move faster? And then I take a look at a couple of different things that matter to the team and to the business. So are we pacing in our North Star metric? Are we hitting our qualified leads? Are we doing those things on a regular basis to make sure the sales team can continue doing their work? And then I spend a lot of time with the leadership team. Like, I am on the leadership team. We are constantly trying to figure out, how do we improve the product? How do we improve our margins? All the things that you can expect a company to be thinking about. So a lot of those discussions. But I'd say, like, right away, it's just, can I get my team to move faster? And what are the things that I can do to help unblock their things?
Definitely. Okay, awesome. Great to hear that. And in the between time, Kash, then, how do you stay up to date with all the news in the marketing world, news trends, strategies? Is there a preferred channel that you like to go with?
I wouldn't say there's a preferred channel. I do consume a lot of content online from, traditional sources like New York Times to tech sites like TechCrunch, Reddit, to industry sites. So because the travel site has industry-specific news like skift.com, I do go to those sites a lot. I also follow a lot of the organizations within those industries on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Threads. They also have newsletters. So I consume a ton of content, and it just keeps me informed about what's going on. We're also fortunate to have a number of employees who previously worked in the DMO space. So they're also a good resource to just tap into whenever I'm debating about something or just want to validate whether or not what I hear in the news is actually true.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Great to hear. Good for those channels that you like with. And well, let's jump into our next section then here, Cash, which is our rapid fire question rounds. Are you ready for them?
Sure, let's do it.
Awesome. First off then, Cash, what is the last book that you read?
I just finished Going Infinite by Michael Lewis. It's the book about SBF. Really good read. I was at a beach, finished it really quickly. Awesome read.
Okay, great read there for our listeners. Next up then, Cash, what is one single thing that your company is focused on at the moment the most?
Yeah, so we are focused on, we're really trying to understand how do we provide more verticalized products for existing customers. So we have 2 existing products. We're working on potentially 2 more. And so that is like a sole focus, is what can we do to keep going upstream with our existing customer base.
Awesome. Great to hear that. Next then is, if there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be that one thing that you want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I actually think it's good to have some of these boundaries. Without boundaries, it's unimaginable what could be possible in the space. So we absolutely need those boundaries. But to answer your question, I'd say the practical answer would be just better profiling of our customers, so we can spend less money on ads with just better targeting. But the more personal, theoretical answer would be just to get rid of all these ad tools and just make more creative stuff. I think, like, as I've gotten older as a marketer, great creative really, really stands out. It's weirdly like less noisy and it cuts through so much better. So I think of those like products that I enjoy the most. Like, I collect sneakers. I have tons of like clothing that I'm very particular about, and they're just very simple, creative, that connects, and I just get it. So in sort of like a boundary-less world in this space, I would just hope that there's more creative that is generated versus just like focusing on so much of these ad tools.
Definitely. All right. Awesome. Great to hear that thing, Cash. Next then is, if there's one repetitive task that you could automate, what would that be?
So earlier I mentioned I'm constantly looking at these different channels to make sure I can help my team. I would love it if there was like one place where everything could be served to me, from all the Slack messages, Asana tasks, emails, that essentially just have one-word responses or a thumbs up emoji. Like, that would be amazing for me, especially if I start the day, because I know there's things coming in that the team just needs to move ahead on. That would be perfect. Like a dashboard that just like 20 different things to start the day, thumbs up, thumbs down, yes or no, and we're good to go.
Definitely important. I would agree with you on that. So many tools out there that we need one, right, to compile all that into one. That'd be great. And well, lastly then, Cash, I mean, you have a lot of experience already in the marketing world, but what is that one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
Yeah, so the one thing I would say, looking back, is just focusing on like controlling what you can. I've had a strange journey across multiple different companies, different segments, but knowing what I know now, if I can go back, I would tell myself that, like, just focus on controlling what you can, and everything else sort of takes care of itself. As a young marketer, you want to do everything. You push the wrong button sometimes, and you worry about the outcomes. Sometimes it's really hard when you're worrying so much about what you've done wrong, instead of focusing on like, okay, this is what I can do really well, and continue to do that as best as you can, instead of what could theoretically be possible in a new role or at a new company. I think we lose track of that as marketers. Like, just do what you do really well, and other things will continue to open up. So I think it's more about that control of like, do it, control it, do it well, and things will just open up.
Definitely. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And well, Cash, we are coming to the end of the show here, but before we do end, I do want to give you the last word. If someone forgets everything about the interview today, what is that one thing they should remember about CrowdRiff?
I think they should remember that CrowdRiff is the only place where you'll get the type of content you need to promote your destination. If you think about destination marketing, CrowdRiff is synonymous with destination.
Definitely. Awesome. Great to hear that from you, Cash. And we'll do want to appreciate you giving us the time to be on today's episode. And to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll see you on our next episode at PathMonk Presents. Thanks a lot, Cash.
Thank you so much for having me again. Appreciate it.